Unknown Thought is made possible through the generosity of sponsors who care about people. IC Savings Bank, Ready Honda, and Corey's Clothiers. Welcome back. My guest today is Eddy Sonshine. He's the president and CEO of RioCan, a true Canadian success story with assets in the range of $8.5 billion, starting from substantially less. Ed, you're a Canadian pioneer in the sector of real estate income trust, and I'm delighted to have you here today to talk to me about many different things.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Rabbi.
Pleasure. You're very involved in a lot of things. RioCan takes a lot of your time. You're director of the Bank of Canada. You've taken on being part of the board of Cinema, the Galaxy, what is it? The Cineplex Galaxy.
Cineplex Galaxy, yeah.
You're very involved. You're very busy. I remember Marty Goldfarb, who you know. Marty once said to me when I was having some trouble figuring out how I'd manage my finances, he says, Yossi, money is energy. As long as you have energy, you can make money. But the question is, Ed, is how do you get so much energy? I'm not saying you make so much money.
Yeah, I do okay. Thank you. But Rabbi, you know what? I don't know. You just keep going. If anybody would have told me I was going to be doing everything I'm doing at my advanced age of 63, I would have said, what? You just get up every morning and you do whatever's on the slate that day.
But you do,
and you look forward to it.
From beginning to end, though. Your days are full. I know your work schedule.
Days are full. Days are full, but that's okay. I like it that way.
Okay, so Eddy, I want to talk about a number of aspects of your relationship to the world and business, but let's talk about Jewish ethics.
Sure.
You're a committed, observant Jew. You find the time to make Judaism a primary part of your life in many ways, which we could talk about, but I want to talk about the ethics aspect of it. You're in a business that is essentially strictly governed by law, but at the same time, everyone knows how you get from A to B. There's many different ways. Do you find your behavior and attitude in business different because you feel you represent sort of a higher authority or a higher calling?
That's an interesting question. The real estate industry, leaving aside the issue of being a public entity,
right?
The real estate industry has never been known for ethics. Where at the same time, it's actually dominated by Jews. In my particular sector, the shopping center industry, Shopping Center Today magazine published a list of the 25 biggest shopping center owners in North America every year. And if you look at the CEOs, probably 17, 18 are Jewish. But I decided a long time ago, quite frankly, it's probably more my background as a lawyer than as a Jew. That all you have is your reputation in this world. You come in with nothing, you leave with nothing, except what you leave behind is your name. And I decided a long time ago that name was very important to me. And if I couldn't make it acting with the way I felt was proper and with integrity and in accordance with all ethical considerations that I felt, then that's okay. I'll go back to practicing law. So it's something that's always been important to me, because really and truly, as a lawyer, all you have is your reputation.
That's true. And I mean, it's clear to anyone who watches and seen your rise from lawyer in 1989, you leave the business, you go into real estate. Anyone who's watched knows that you've been a tremendous success in the real estate sector. I mean, your corporation's a model for many others. They've tried to imitate, but it's great. That, I think, arguably you would suggest is your greatest business success, undoubtedly.
It is, yes.
What is your greatest personal success?
You ask good questions.
Thank you.
Greatest, I don't know, the fact I've been married for, next week will be 42 years to the same woman. That's, in this day and age, is a big success. But I would say probably it's our children. The fact that they all married Jews, the fact that they are all as traditional as I am, that they're starting to get involved in the community. They're all in their 30s today. And I would say on a personal basis, that, and there's one other thing I'm very proud of, if I may, Rabbi, and that is that RioCan is a huge success in the public markets, and we're the largest shopping center owner in Canada today. But I think on that side of it, what I take great pleasure from personally is that we've managed to really inculcate a culture in RIACAN, and brought up, I've watched grow a lot of young guys that started with me 16, 17 years ago when we started RIACAN. Long-term people like Freddie Wax, like Jeff Ross, Jordan Robbins, who have become important players in the community. And I like to think I've had at least a small hand in pushing them that way. And everybody at RIACAN knows, even the non-Jews, it's important to be involved in the community and do what you can to help people, over and above what you do for the company every day. So I think those two things, the family and what I've been able to achieve as a mentor, a role model, a pusher, whatever you want to call it.
I think adding to that you have built a good reputation and a good name, that collective makes for a tremendous success. One of the difficult things that happens when you go from, let's say, regular business person to top level success, you often get very distant from the people you work with. You get distant, but as you said, you're not, because you want to make it a collective.
I try hard.
Yeah.
You're right. It is a risk.
It is a risk. And the greater risk is the community to whom you've become a servant, in the sense, because of your reputation and your ability and your power and your incredible ability to enter into the lobbying that goes on behind the scenes that creates a community environment. You always run the risk, by being a servant of the community, you also pull yourself away, because it can be a headache, a serious headache.
Yes.
Since I've met you, I think playing golf,
Yeah.
I've watched and seen that you have a kind ear and you're accessible to anybody, even for just a minute. You might not be able to continue the conversation, but you will give yourself at a public function in shul, even privately, you will allow anybody to access you if you feel there's a reason, and you've made yourself accessible. How do you balance your private, personal, public, financial? How do you do that balance and still maintain your ability to be both a leader and a compassionate ear and have family and business? It's a tough challenge.
I am accessible. I couldn't imagine being any other way, because the simple reason is I don't think of myself as anybody special. I've been very fortunate. I've worked hard, so have a lot of people. I got a little bit lucky, and things worked out well. Doesn't make me any special or different from anybody else. So if somebody wants to talk to me, I always have time to. I couldn't imagine sort of saying, "Don't come near me." I just couldn't imagine it. It does get wearing every so often, and I bet you feel the same way. Probably every month or two, depending on what's going on, I'll just say to Fran, I said, you know what, too many people want too many things from me, and unplug the phone and put away my BlackBerry, and I'm going to go read a book for the rest of the day and tell everybody I went away. And I do that every so often. I actually do that. It does get overwhelming every so often, that just too many people to deal with.
I know that you take Shabbat very seriously. I know that it means something to you. But I also realize that what you're suggesting is that occasionally we need a Shabbat on top of Shabbat, where just restore our souls and get back in touch with what counts and what's important.
You know what? You're absolutely right. And Shabbat, I wouldn't call myself overly observant. But the funny thing is, when I was getting going, I worked 6 days a week. The one day I didn't work was Shabbat. Now, I used to think to myself, oh God, because I'm tired. I work so hard the other 6 days. But somehow Shabbat has become very special. The family all gets together Friday night for dinner, and Saturday I don't work. So you know what? In a funny way, without thinking about it, I do exactly what you said.
That's fantastic. Thank you for being on today, Ed. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
How do you explain the irregular movement of small microscopic particles suspended in a space? What inhibits some substances from growing through membranes while others cross? When we get to our discussion of Syria next week, you may think you're listening to Quirks and Quacks. How do we cross barriers that separate us and get people to join common causes? Join us for Crossing Membranes. Israel in the Jewish world values diversity and equality, explores cultural strengths and struggles, and promotes understanding and acceptance. We hope we've succeeded. We welcome comments, criticisms, ideas. Please drop us a line. We also welcome new members. Join us. I hope you'll tune in next week. I'm Howard Edelman. Good night until then.